US President Donald Trump has talked down speculation that North Korea is planning a long-range nuclear test. Pyongyang had threatened to deliver a Christmas gift to the US amid stalled denuclearization negotiations between the two nations. Speaking to journalists after a Christmas Eve phone call with military leaders, Trump said that the US would handle the gift and would be able to deal with it very successfully. Attempts to contain a diesel spill in the protected waters of the Galapagos archipelago continued on Tuesday. This was 3 days after a crane toppled onto a barge while loading shipping containers. The barge carrying 600 gallons of diesel sank in the San Cristobal Island, easternmost island in the Galapagos archipelago. On Sunday, alongside the crane and shipping container, the incident occurred as workers attempted to load a container on a barge with the crane, and both somehow tipped, destabilizing the vessel, which turned on its side. Workers in the barge began to jump into the water to prevent from sinking with the ship. Galapagos National Park underwater video shows that some of the 600 gallons of diesel is still spilling out from the boat. A landslide in Brazil's northeastern city on Tuesday caused 2 houses to collapse, killing 7 people gathering for Christmas holiday. Firefighters arrived at the scene of the accident before sunrise and pulled 5 bodies from the wreckage and then used sniffer dogs to find 2 additional bodies. The cause of the landslide early Tuesday in the capital state is yet to be determined. Firefighters also rescued 3 other people who were injured in the landslide. Several Wisconsin firefighters put their ice rescue training to the test, rescuing a German Shepherd that fell through the ice covering a barn near its home. The fire chief, David Socker, said that had in fact slid on the ice to reach 8-month-old Pepper and call him down. Chief and another firefighter in the protective suits broke some of the ice and tumbled into the cold water before getting a grip on the dog to let him out. The rescue happened Saturday in the area. Soper said that Pepper's owner did the right thing by calling the fire department and not trying to rescue the dog themselves. Streets were littered with rubble in what was said to be the Marat al-Numan. In an uploaded video, the video posted by the White Helmets shows damaged buildings and a boy walking down a street filled with debris. Russian and Syrian army jets have been targeting civilian convoys trying to flee the Idlib city of Marat al-Numan, leaving hundreds of families still trapped there. Activists and groups have said Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has vowed to recapture the Idlib region, last significant area of Syria still under rebel control after 8.5 years of civil war. Hundreds of Iraqi students took to the streets of Basra, blaming the ruling political parties for the delayed nomination of a new prime minister. Deadlock in Parliament has held the selection of an interim Prime Minister, causing lawmakers to miss the constitutional deadline of December 19th to name a replacement for Prime Minister Adil Abdul Mehdi. Mehdi resigned last month but has remained in office in a caretaker capacity. More than 450 people, mostly unarmed demonstrators, but also some members of the security forces, have been killed since a wave of popular unrest began on October 1st. Hong Hong Kong riot police fired rounds of tear gas at thousands of protesters, many wearing masks and reindeer horns after scuffles in shopping malls and in a prime tourist district as anti-government rallies escalated into chaos on Christmas Eve. Police fired tear gas to disperse protesters who had occupied the main roads and blocked traffic outside the malls and nearby luxury hotels. There was a heavy police presence into the night, with hundreds of officers standing guard on the road as thousands of Christmas shoppers and tourists, some wearing Santa hats, looked on. Serbian Orthodox Church clergy in Montenegro protested against the planned adoption of a religious law that they say that will strip the church of its property. Several hundred priests wearing black robes gathered outside the parliament building where lawmakers are set to approve the bill in the coming days. The law, in fact, wants that religious communities in Montenegro would need to produce evidence of ownership over their property from before 1918, when Montenegro joined the Balkan Kingdom. Government has denied that it plans to strip any community of its property. Residents in Sydney breathed a sign of relief as weather system finally delivered the rain firefighters needed as they continue to battle devastating wildfires on the edge of the city. More than 70 wildfires were still burning through New South Wales, including the massive Gospers Mountain blaze near Sydney. The city's iconic landmarks have been shrouded in a hazy smog caused by the smoke of the fires. But forecasters predicted winds would ease up the pollution levels there and more rain was likely to fall on Christmas Day. However, weather conditions were expected to take a turn for the worse again later this week. Some 30 ballet dancers accompanied by musicians from the Paris Symphony Orchestra held a performance in front of the famous Opera House to protest the French government's planned pension reforms, which would also affect workers in performing arts. Hundreds of people gathered to watch the 20-minute dance as the ballerinas twirled and pointed in their white tutus. Professional ballet dancers in France retire at the age of 42 and are a part of these special pension regimes. Paris Opera recruits and trains children from the age of 8 and up. Once they retire, they go on to do other jobs, often related to dancing, a way to have a decent standard of living. A number of civilians were killed when a missile struck at a school building in northwestern Syria on Tuesday, according to witnesses and opposition activists. Witnesses blame Russia, Syria, President Bashar al-Assad's main ally in war, for the attack that hit the Jobas village school, which was used by people displaced by violence in other parts of the country. They said 10 members of one family were killed, while the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said 8 people were killed, including 5 children and a woman. Dense fog caused flight delays and some cancellations at Chicago's O'Hare and Midway International Airports early on Christmas Eve, one of the busiest travel days of the holiday season. The Federal Aviation Administration briefly grounded flights at both airports until about 8 a.m. Tuesday and eased those restrictions as the fog cleared. The National Weather Services said dense freezing fog developed overnight throughout the city and its surrounding suburbs, leading to travel difficulties in the air and on the ground. The Weather Service reported visibility at Chicago's airport was less than a quarter of a mile in some spots. People across India flock markets to finish the last-minute shopping as they prepare to celebrate the festival of Christmas. And energy in the markets in Goa, which becomes an international tourist hub during Christmas and New Year season, was palpable, with children and families thronging the public places. And the iconic Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception Church of the city was seen all decked up for the midnight mass. Markets in northern India too witnessed a heavy rush, with thousands of people flooding the shops selling attractive knickknacks ahead of Christmas. Christians make up around 2% of India's 1.2 billion strong population, with its largest concentration in the southern and northeastern states. Surplus stock from traders at Smithfield Meat Market has been auctioned off on Christmas Eve. Customers queued up from the early morning for the best position at the heart of Smithfield Meat Auction in East London. More than 1,500 people were expected to have visited the site for what has become one of the London's Christmas traditions. Sellers have been trading at the market since the 12th century. More than 800 years, a market has existed on the Smithfield site in some form. It closed in 1855 but was rebuilt and reopened on 24th of November in 1868.
Thank you. Here we go. Charlie Stewart.
Santa's Christmas Eve journey around the world will be tracked for the first time by astronauts orbiting the International Space Station. The ISS crew is teaming up with NORAD to follow Santa and his reindeer as he speeds around the globe. U.S. Army astronaut Colonel Andrew Morgan said that he has already spotted Santa flying over India and bearing south towards Sri Lanka. ISS travels at more than 17,000 miles per hour and is located approximately 250 miles above Earth, which gives them a great vantage point to spot Santa on his annual journey around the world. NORAD has been tracking Santa since 1955, when a young child accidentally dialed the misprinted phone number from a department store advertisement in the local newspaper, believing she was calling Santa.
Along with other astronauts here on board the station to find out when world-class Santa's flight path begins.